Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about music's ability to shift perspective. I love this topic. This is something that we didn't think about. So, thankfully, I have Marcus here who's going to really help us think about this in a whole new light so that we can continue on thinking because that's the whole point, right? Yes, to keep on thinking. So, thank you so much, Marcus, for coming on my show and sharing your time and your perspective with me. I'm truly honored for this time. So let's just dive right in. We're going to really break down this concept, right? What does music, just first of all, what does music make you think about?
Yeah, and thank you for having me on the show. Glad to be on here and sharing music from my perspective. As a musician, music is it's hard for me to experience life without music, so it's everywhere, ceremonies that we celebrate. It's in the movies that we watch. It's when we travel places, it's in the places that we eat and shop. So it's all around us. Even when I'm like in the middle of like construction zones and just hearing all kinds of different sounds. I'm like, oh, I can like let me hurry up and sample it. So it's hard to like turn that off. And also like when I watch movies, I'm like I'm analyzing the music, like why did they go with that choice? Or like, oh man, that's awesome, that's incredible. Like I wish I had thought of that. So I'm always hearing things from like a musical perspective. Of course, most people don't approach it that way, but music does enhance our lives. It's what recalls things. The older we get, we hear a song that takes us back to years ago, um,
Yeah.
to important moments in our lives. So it sort of underscores those highlights and key points that we go through in life.
Oh yeah, I think that's a valid point. We are constantly surrounded by music and
Mm.
noise. I mean, even if we just hear noises, even for instance, like you said, a construction zone. I mean, you can, if you really pay attention, you can make
Yeah.
a beat, you can make a sound, you can go with the rhythm of it, and
Mhm.
you can find music in there. And I think that's with anything. You can find music in water dripping, you can find music in birds like just tweeting away, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
Yeah.
like that ability to just listen intently and it's a beautiful thing. So I guess to really broaden this out, what does this make you think about when you hear that phrase, music shifting, be able to shift people's perspective? What does that make you think about then?
Yeah, it reminds me there was a test done. I think it might have been during the pandemic where there was footage of uh shark. It was on one of the broadcast station websites, and they had footage of shark, and you can move a bar on this footage, and if you moved it to one direction, it would be sort of like the ominous, like Jaws type of music
Okay.
that most people will have associated with, sharks being dangerous and things. But then if you moved it to the other side, it would be like uplifting orchestral cinematic music. It would shift how you perceived these animals. So music can help us to have a different perspective on a situation. If you ever try to watch, some people post film clips of if this film had different music or if this scene had different music, and it just changes how this scene like is perceived because it could be if you have a horror film but you're playing some like clown music behind it, well, that can be kind of scary. But you're playing like the jazzy thing behind it, that can change the interpretation of that scene. So music has a way of shifting perspectives. There are people who study music from its healing properties, how it can help to, there's musical therapy and there's things that
Yeah.
music has been done to help people concentrate, on studies and things like that. So there's so many applications, and it's also universal language. If it's not, there's no lyrics involved. People, they hear a song, instrumental, orchestral, piano, and it just starts bringing emotions up in them. And it might not be the same emotions from person to person. Uh,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
but
I,
yeah.
I I agree. I like that a lot. I actually read a study where they found that if you play classical contemporary music to vegetables and your plants early in the morning, they actually have their growth rate is exceeded, and
Mhm.
their vegetation, how much they plant out and produce, is actually more, and they
Yep.
are healthier and they strive more. So it is an interesting concept to think about how music can truly change our perspective because it's like you were talking about how you listen to instrumental music from any type of culture, any type of region, and it just brings you this feeling inside that you never knew. Or like when you're talking about nostalgia, you could
Yeah.
listen to an old song from back in the day and you don't
Mhm.
even realize like you still have those feelings or those emotions because it's in the past. Especially, oh, I used to work as a CNA in a
Oh
nursing
wow.
home back in
Yep.
my day, and we used to play like those old school musics, and these people would just love it. They would just like swing and sway around. It was the cutest little thing, but it just shows that truly how music can change people's perspective. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation because
Mhm.
I don't think people actually realize how much music can. And when you think of them, when I think of the movie Coco and they're talking about no
Yeah.
music, you know what I mean? No music. It's
Hmm.
like it takes away this community, you know what I mean? It takes
Hmm.
away this bond that you can have in an environment with people, and it truly brings people together because,
Yeah.
if you're in a silent scene like in your house and it's
Mhm.
completely silent and you're scared, you're actually could be possibly a little bit more calmer versus if there was actually that intense music like do 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 do. You know what I mean? The
Hmm.
creeping
Yeah.
up behind you, making things worse. So yeah, it's most
Yep.
definitely interesting. So I guess I have to ask you, what is the type of music that you like? I mean, what is your genre?
So the music that I like to create is actually interesting. It's epic cinematic music. So as a composer, I do music for one side of things is sync licensing, which is music for TV and film. So that's typical like popular genres like pop music, hip hop, R&B, rock, and sometimes I get requests for all kinds of genres. And then I also do music for movie trailers. So that's more of the epic cinematic orchestral like think Marvel type superhero, but that can also be horror. It can also be um, just like a low key piano, or it could be like neoclassical when you start talking about shows like Bridgerton or some of those murder mystery type shows. You have that type of neoclassical trailer sound. So it really is a different. Each day brings a different challenge and opportunity. So I enjoy creating that. As far as listening, I like listening to those genres of music. I listen to a lot of trailers because that's the sort of lane I've been in the last few years. And then I have a wife and kids, so we're always listening to, like hip hop and pop. And um, I'm sort of out of the loop as far as a new artist these days, but the kids
Okay.
keep us young. But yeah, so I just
Exactly.
enjoy, yeah, yeah. And then I grew up in the church, so I enjoyed listening to, gospel music. And I used to play piano and organ in the church. So all kinds of different genres. Oh, and then finally, my dad is Jamaican. So my dad and brother are Jamaican. So listening to, Buju Banton, Barres Hammond, Bob Marley, of course, and the Wailers. So yeah, a lot of musical um, input I've gotten over the years.
Yeah, it most definitely sounds like you have a wide variety of music, and that's how I am too. Like I love all types of music. I don't think I've have found a type of genre that I don't like. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because you can if you really listen to the words, even with reggae, you know what I mean? I listen to Protege, I listen to Skip Marley and things like that.
Yep.
And even when I
Yep.
listen to them, like my husband, he can't really get into it because of the accents and he gets lost, and he tones it out. But
Hmm.
it's like if you truly listen to the words, it's poetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize like a lot of songs are really it's just poetry. People are just speaking out of
Hmm.
their heart. Like country music,
Yeah.
they're speaking out of their heart. You know what I mean? Like hip hop that kind of lost its rhythm from what it was in the beginning
Yeah.
versus what it is now. But it's like even in techno, you can get lost into the
Mhm.
music and what it is. So it's just like it truly is something where it's like you have to just find that zen for yourself. So it's like I guess what Zen music do you go to when you need to just like have that moment of just that clarity? Like, what is that
Mhm.
Zen music for you?
Might be more. So there's a couple of composers I enjoy listening to on the like film side. There's a composer named Clint Mansell who does like not sort of the cinematic, everything cinematic, but not sort of the epic, bombastic. It's more like pads and low energy, not like action drums and things like that. So there's things like that, like low key, like synths and I don't know what you want to classify it genre wise. And then occasionally, I don't have a lot of these, but when I get to do like lo-fi projects, sometimes it helps to balance out like all the epic cinematic stuff. So lo-fi, sometimes it's lo-fi hip hop, but it's just more mellow, chill, uh,
Yeah.
like vibes.
Yeah, yeah. My husband calls that elevator music because
Elevator music. Yeah.
he
Yep.
doesn't necessarily groove with it sometimes. But I'm like, you know what? No, I like it. Like if it's mellow and it's
Hmm.
calming and I don't even need to hear words, or if there's random words in between, then hey, that's fine. But it's just getting lost in in the softness of the instruments. You know what I mean? It's just it's calming. And sometimes I'm hearing so much music from
Mhm.
my boys. I mean, because I have two little toddlers running around,
Okay.
so they're always listening to things. And
Mhm.
sometimes I just want complete silence because it's just sometimes just noise is just too much. But then silence is just like, okay, I'm ready for something to get into me and feed my soul. So then I go into the music and I just put my elevator music, as my husband
Yep.
calls it. But it's like I don't think it's elevator music. I think it's like a mixture of just I don't know because genres are constantly changing and
Yep.
combining, and now
Mhm.
people and artists are just creating what they feel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think that's a beautiful way to branch out into this industry is going by what you feel. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Going by what your heart is yearning for, because some people they like, "Oh, I'll go to country music because that's what
Mhm.
calms me down." But it's like, "Okay,
Mhm.
what happened if that country music doesn't calm you down? What else do you have? What's your backup plan?" So
Yep.
I think it's always nice to have that type of backup plan. And I know you were talking about earlier about music therapy.
Mhm.
Can you go a little bit more deep about that if you don't mind?
Yeah, so there are jobs that people have where they use music to help people either through it's much more for like mental issues. But there are some that may help you through like physical issues, but you actually need to get to a doctor for that.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah. But there are studies that have shown that music can help with some mental issues, with some ADHD, ADD, focusing things. There was a thing called the Mozart effect where there was a test done forever ago where they played they had like I think they had two different groups. One group they were studying for a test. One group they played Mozart's music while they were studying, and then the other group they didn't play any music. And um, the group that had the Mozart music playing tested scored higher. Of course, I mean it's hard to really make that the direct correlation, but it's like, hey, they listened to this music and they did better on the test. But
Yeah.
I run with that because listening to classical music, you feel like when you listen to it, you feel like you're you know getting better just by listening to
Yeah.
it.
Like
Uh,
there's genius in the sound
and the
waves.
music, yeah, like it's just coming into you. So, and that's when like when I watch shows like that are um based in like the medieval times, like the Bridgerton type shows, listening to the soundtracks, I'm just like, man, I feel like elegancy, or elegancy, is that a word?
Yeah, it's a word. We'll,
Royal,
we'll put it
royal.
in, we'll put
It's a
it in
word
our
now. It's
dictionary.
a
It's
word now.
okay.
Yeah. But so music has way of transforming people's lives. And I mean, there's things that people put on to help them get over. Uh, and people make playlists now. They have playlists for every situation. Cookout playlists, playlists for heartbreak, or playlists if you're in love. Um, so like, there's almost a playlist for almost anything.
But I
Playlist when
feel
you're
like
cooking.
yeah, I mean, but I feel like people have been doing that for ages. I mean, don't you
Yeah.
remember like the cassette players?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they used to have CDs like, oh, it's car drive,
Yeah.
road trip, Mary's mixtape. You know what I mean? Like things like that.
Yeah.
So I think I don't
Yeah.
think that's dead. I think that
Mhm.
continues on because we feel like we need something to can like give us that motivation, that oomph that
Mhm.
people just feel like they need to just keep going to stay disciplined.
Yeah.
So, what made you fall in love with music? I mean, I know you said you've been in this industry and you
Mhm.
go to different genres, and there's not a type of genre that you don't like, but like, what made you really fall in love with music?
There's when I was younger, I took piano lessons. My parents put me in piano lessons. I have three sisters, and a brother, and believe we all took piano lessons. I'm the youngest, and I stuck with it and stuck with music. So I sort of fell in love with creating music early on, and just stuck with it throughout life. And it's just something that I literally can't go to sleep without creating music. And I'm listening to a lot of music. I used to listen to an album a day, and that sort of shifted during the pandemic to more listening to like music podcasts and podcasts about music production and movie trailers and sync licensing and things like that. But I do have to create music every day. I literally like can't go to sleep if I haven't like done something musically creative throughout
Oh,
the
that's
day.
interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like people who work out, they have to work out to just to move their
Hmm.
body. But you, it's like, no, it's like your mind is moving through music. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, what did you think about, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the movie Soul, and it was about music,
Yeah.
about finding that moment of like that peak and I
Hmm.
mean, do you think that's real for you when you are in your zone of genius?
I think so. And there's not a lot of um movies that have sort of that genre of music highlighted. That for those who don't know, Soul was, I believe, I don't know if it was Pixar, but it was a Disney movie animated that was highlighting a character who was into like the jazz music scene. So there's really not a lot of opportunities for jazz music specifically um, to be shown on the big screen or even the small screen. So I really enjoyed that perspective. And even like coming more up to date, like with Sinners, like that's like to me that's a music. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that, but that's a film about music. No spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet, but
I know I
it's
haven't seen it yet, but
okay.
my sister said it was really good.
It's really good, and music is sort of like another character in that film. So, and when you think about films, in general, like what would a movie be without music? There are very few, especially these days, if any movies made without music.
I
And
know. How
yeah,
awkward would it be, right? You know what
yeah,
I mean? To see somebody actually walking and then not hear anything playing in the
yeah,
background. You know what I mean? Like it would be kind of
yeah,
weird. Like, okay, what's happening? This is just a normal day,
yeah.
reality TV show. Yeah, exactly. So I think, yeah,
Mhm.
music really does. It's like the missing piece to the puzzle, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, of our lives. And I think that's why some people feel like having music just makes them feel like somebody, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it makes them like, I don't know, it's not alone in this world, even though we're like
hmm
billions of people in the world. I mean, we can still feel lonely. And it's kind of interesting how music really unites us and
hmm
brings us all together so that we can feel united. I guess that's the right word I'm looking for.
yeah.
So I guess that my next question is, if you could have any superpower, what would be your superpower?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
That's a
I haven't,
thinker. Gotta
that's a
make you think
thinker.
about it.
Um, Sometimes it's like, do I wish I had like unlimited money or to be able to just transport anywhere, teleport anywhere, but also bring like people with me, like maybe up to four, like at least my family, like teleport anywhere in the world, so you don't have to worry about spending days on a
Planes.
plane or the flights and all
Yeah,
that.
right.
So yeah, that's for now, I'd probably say like the teleport, like go anywhere, just snap a finger, we have our bags. We're in Italy right now. Um,
Right, exactly. I think that would be pretty cool too. Just that teleportation, because I know I had somebody say that they would like to fly, but I'm
mhm.
like, flying is one
That's
thing.
work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
That's
You know what I
work.
mean?
Yeah.
That's wind in my hair,
Yeah.
bugs in my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if this is north, south, east. You know what I mean? Like, that's a
Mhm.
lot of work. But if you snap your fingers and just think about it, then at least,
They're
boom, I'm
there.
there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. So, what is a pet peeve of yours?
Hmm. People who don't follow up or who don't follow through. I'll say that. 'Cause I've worked with some artists who like, we have projects with deadlines. It's like I need this song done by, Friday at noon, and then Friday at noon comes and goes, and then I'm like, what's happening? And then I might reach out and not hear from them. Um, so yeah, no, not following up on projects that you're committed to has been a recent one. Because I work on a lot of music and work with a lot of artists. So just trying to keep track, make sure everyone is able to deliver. Because a lot of the projects are for deadline, something that needs to be done by a certain date time. So it's like if
Yeah.
it's not done, and if it's almost like those group projects you used to have in school. It's like if they don't do their part, then I don't look good too if it's a client or depending on the opportunity. So it's like um,
Oh,
so yeah,
absolutely.
following up and following through.
Oh yeah, I can most definitely see that because I mean, like you said, you have obligations, and if you're a composer and you're producing and you're trying to get everything all finalized and set together to
Mhm.
send it off to the next person, I mean, you can't really do that. It's like
Yeah.
one of those track races. You have to pass the baton, and if you can't pass the baton,
Yeah.
if you were never given the baton, you're just
hmm
standing there looking like, okay, I'm waiting, but the
Yeah.
person's not running to me. Like, yeah, it's a frustrating thing because it's like there's no urgency. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like we have to be realistic that we all are depend on each other one way or another. So it's like, come on, there has to be some type of urgency to do your
Yeah.
part. So yeah. So I guess my next question is, as a composer, what is the easiest part?
These days, making the music is almost like second nature because I do it every day. So creating music, I very rarely get like writer's block because I always have the music I'm making is usually for an opportunity. So I always have like almost the guideline, it's called the brief, that have, hey, we want songs that are talking about this or this style of music for this opportunity. So I always have a bunch of projects lined up. So writer's block is kind of hard right now because of, there's always something to do, something to make. And I get, it seems like new opportunities almost every day. So the easiest part is really making the music, I would say.
Okay, okay. So how do you know what sounds are well with another sound? You know what I mean? Or does it just
Mhm,
depend on what it's going for? Because how do you know a trumpet sound is going to work with a drum sound? You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
how do you necessarily play that in your mind?
Some of it is I listen to a lot of what's called like references. So if I'm gonna make a movie trailer track, I listen to trailer music daily. Or if I'm like, Kate, I'm gonna work on some. I just finished a Spanish hip hop project. It's not reggaeton, but like Spanish, just Spanish rap, Spanish hip hop. So I was listening to a lot of Spanish, hip hop artists and rap in general, and just figuring out like, hey, I want to make like my version of this song, even if it was like American rap song, and but then I'll find Spanish artists for it. It's like sounds that I might hear that I'm like, yo, that's a great like way to approach, making this beat or something. And it's like I might take like an idea um, from that song and try to put it in mine and then do it my own way. And then it's like, yeah, trial and error. Sometimes I do have a sound and it's like I might make an instrumental. And then if I get an artist on it, now that trumpet or whatever sound clashes with like their vocal range or it's too distracting from what they're saying. So it's like, okay, let me either change the sound or turn the sound down or get rid of the sound when they're singing or rapping. So it's not like too many
Ye-
conflicting things coming into the
Yeah.
listener's mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think your family provides some type of inspiration when it's time to coordinate the music?
Yeah. So obviously the one goal of the music is obviously to make money so that I can, continue to provide for families. So there's that. But there's also been that support from them for allowing me to focus on the music. I'm usually up until sometimes a couple of days ago I was up till 4 a.m. working on a project, and my wife was in the bed. I think she woke up and she texted me. She was just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I just got a brief for opportunity, and I'm trying to finish up." Yeah, they're very supportive. Whether it's me, working late hours, making music on for projects or traveling around the world, for conferences or events to network and meeting people and or making music. So definitely supportive. And of course, when they can travel with me, it's even better. So, uh, but yeah,
Right.
so
I
they've been very supportive of the journey and they see the vision and the goal.
Awesome, awesome. It doesn't sound like there's any type of music you won't listen to, right? Is that right? There's no music or
Um,
genre that you just completely avoid.
I not that I won't listen, I just don't unless I'm asked to make something similar, but like the metal, that's not really
Oh.
my EDM
Well,
I can do a little bit, but I won't listen to it unless someone's like, hey, I want to make something like this, and they give me like a reference album or song. But yeah, there's very few. I mean, there's a lot of genres out there. Even when you start getting into like European and there's something called like gamelan music, which is actually spiritual connection from like Bali and Indonesia and things like that. So there's all kinds of music out there. But yeah, I'll give it a listen once and then you know I don't know if I'll just spin it up every day, but yeah, I'll give it a
yeah.
try.
Right, it's not on your Pandora playlist, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's not on your shuffle
yeah.
unless it's like for work or something, then yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Let me see what I'm working with. Let me see the different styles so that I can make my own style and do it and things like that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, metal music is interesting. There's only a few songs that I made like from certain artists, but it's not something
Mhm.
that's on my playlist. It's not on that shuffle.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I know exactly what you mean on that aspect. So I know that time is catching up to us. So I have to ask you, what are some lasting words of wisdom that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Yeah, I will say that you're never too old to try a different avenue to consider. If there's something that you've always dreamed of doing, it's not too late. So I am 40 years old, and I spent a lot of, I would say, probably almost 30 years, 25, 30 years growing up playing in the church, playing piano and organ. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I sort of was able to focus on music outside of the church. So I really was able to focus on creating music instead of playing other people's music, and realize how much enjoyment I get out of creating music. And now that I have more time to invest in it, and found, these other journeys, licensing movie trailer music, doing public speaking at conferences and workshops at colleges and universities on music and things like that. And I was able to find all of that. Um, the pandemic helped me to focus that energy elsewhere. So I didn't realize how much uh, enjoyment I can get and how many opportunities there were out there until I had time to sort of shift that focus and that perspective. So it's never too late, if there's something to consider to for someone who's like thinks that the time has passed for them to pursue their dreams. I see stories often of people who are, 60, 70, 80, who are, pursuing their dreams, or they're getting into music now and they're, working on, what they wanted to do when they were younger. So never too late as long as you're still breathing.
Right, exactly. I think age is just a number, and we just
Mhm,
have to just recognize that the only thing that limits us is ourselves and the people that we allow to have that, to allow to put that limitations on us. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And I think what you said about how, the pandemic really opened your eyes and it allowed you to really step into your own, to
mhm.
do your own. I mean, I think you're not the only one. I think
Yeah.
the pandemic was kind of like an awakening for a lot of people to realize like I need to really focus on what I want and
Mhm.
what makes my heart yearn and how I can really shift my perspective because people realize that like you can die like birds on a line, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like so because of that, like why risk it by just staying safe, you know? And I
Mhm.
think maybe just staying in that gospel mindset is just being all about the church just really helped you, but then also restricted you at the same time. So this was a great way because look at you doing your own thing, stepping into the unknown. Now you have deals on an everyday basis, coming at you. So that's a blessing in disguise. I guess you really had to find your path in your own way. And I think music is a really great way to do that, to constantly shift our perspectives. And I think just realizing where our perspective is leading
Mhm.
with the type of music that we're listening to is something that we need to be aware of because sometimes we can listen to certain music and it just continues our rage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Continues our anger instead of healing our anger, and stopping it. So it's just like recognizing what music causes what within ourselves is what we should
Mhm.
really focus on, because at the end of the day, it's our lives and we have to live with ourselves.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing to remind people about how music can truly shift our perspective in such a way that it can and heal us and motivate us and do great things within us. So
Yeah.
yes, when you came to me with this topic, I was really like excited. I was like, "Oh my God, yes! How could I not talk about this?" So
Yeah.
to have this conversation with you and to have this time with you, I'm very honored and very happy that we got to talk about this. And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to know more about Marcus, because how could you not, right? How could you not? Please go check him out if you're listening on audio or on YouTube. Under in the description, you'll find the link to his website. It goes and have access to all of the great content that he has to share with the world. And if you're on my website, just boop, click on his photo, and you go directly straight to his website so that you can continue on thinking. So with that being said,